but it's public. And that's not even talking about new information. This kind of the concrete will then be open.
You know, it just set a really bad tone for where this... The rangefinder showed that the object, whatever it was 700 feet above the ship. That's not a star, right?
Right, so there's so...
Out up there, you know, Jeremy and I, about 6 weeks ago.
Not having much happen, you really need to break through it. I don't want to read because when James McDonald came forward, and he talked before Congress during the UFO hearings, and I know he's aware of the whole Archie play, that kind of thing, where the people are
well, see if the concrete got hard. I think it did. Yeah, it got hard, but it's not really of great quality. Yeah, a little bit crumbly stuff. You know, I shouldn't be able to break it like that. Could have something to do with the sand. I was just scooping up the sand from the ground and it's got some dirt in it. Usually when they pour concrete, the sand is really coarse, like really coarse sand, and it's clean. You know, they use sand from crushed rock and stuff. Like here's the, well, this is old. This concrete is older, but this is the concrete from the foundation. And I was gonna say I couldn't break it, but but it broke anyway. And this stuff was sitting on the ground in -20 before it set up, and it's still harder than the stuff I poured a couple days ago, sitting in 20 degree weather. So here's the other one here. I mean, it'll work. That's not too bad. Yeah, that one's a little bit tougher, but it's definitely not high strength concrete that I'm pouring here. I'm gonna make sure I use lots of concrete, but that bag that I was using, this bag here that's set up, lost a little bit of its strength, it did. So I'll try to use the best bags of concrete, ones that haven't hardened up too much. Try to find the ones that didn't get too hard. And I'll use a lot more concrete than I normally would, just to help make sure that it's gonna set up nice and hard. And whatever's left over, I'm just gonna put on the road and help harden the road up. Probably the road for the shop, or just in this general area, because this area I filled it with a lot of loose sand. So I'll sprinkle the concrete around where we're driving in anyway. But this is just going to be lawn eventually anyway. There isn't going to be a road through here. So road comes in there. It's going to be a ring road, and I'll just go back out. So this center area will have a big tree in it, and be mostly lawn in the center, and then the road around the perimeter. And it's already, you know, packed pretty good. It's about 6 inches of this loose shit sand, and underneath that it's all packed hard. It was just, one year was really wet, and I had a bunch of piles of sand sitting here to build up the road, and I needed to get the trucks in here, and it was really wet, so I went and just spread it out everywhere. So the yard wasn't so watery, because this area was like a low spot. It's where I like dug out sand and filled in sand before, and then I put in the road, and the road was higher and this was lower, and then I put in the road beside the pond there, or at least it's not going to be a road, but at the moment using it as a road. And so I built up the ledge beside the pond there, so that was higher, and then the road was higher, and then this area ended up being lower. So had a low spot here, so I had to fill it in with something. And had piles of sand, and instead of digging out material from somewhere, I just pushed the piles of sand in, all this loose sand. And now I got all this loose sand. But once all the vegetation takes hold on there, it tends to firm it up a bit, and then you get a few years of vegetation growing on there. And then so basically what dirt is dead plants. So every year the plants, every year in spring the plants start to grow. Fall comes, the plants start to die. They die, and drop their seeds, or go into the roots, waiting to come back up the next year. And then all that vegetation, all that material that they used for growing, that now becomes is sitting under the snow. It's decomposing, turns black, and then just lays on the ground there, and that becomes the soil. So soil is just dead vegetation. Soil is just dead vegetation and minerals, and so the plant makes the minerals in the ground more bioavailable. And then every year the plant grows, and then it dies. The stems, everything, it turns into dirt. So every year plant grows, it dies, deposits all that bioavailable minerals and such. And the next generation or the next year, plants grow up from that, and so on. So the first few plants that are coming up are making way for the next generations, and enriching the topsoil. So they're building the topsoil. So everyone's like, oh, I need topsoil for my lawn. Oh, I need topsoil for my garden. That's because topsoil is good soil. That's all the previous generations of plants growing in harsh climate or harsh environment, then dying, depositing their bodies on there. Next generation growing out of their bodies. They're decomposed dirt bodies. And then you get this layer of topsoil, which is dead, decomposed plants that went back as far as it can go, to the point where there's nothing eating it anymore, and it's just dirt. Except earthworms still eat it even after it turned into soil. So yeah, that's how you make more dirt, or have some nice lettuce. It may the soil won't support that, because it's not. It takes a long time to draw out all that stuff. So to have really good soil, you need the animal component also. You need you need your goat poop on there, or you need your horse poop on there, and then you can use that soil to grow vegetables and stuff. So different plants need different things to grow. There's about 5-6 inches of topsoil on the field, and then like 5-6 inches of topsoil everywhere, and then it's about 5 feet of sand, and then it's clay, and about 6 feet of clay, and then it's all rock, like big rocks and clay and gravel. So in order to get a good top layer of soil to grow stuff on, I either got to haul in topsoil, or I get a bunch of animals and have them shit all over. But they probably have to eat the grass is getting good, but the animals have to eat a lot of grass to feel good, because the soil, I don't know if it's very barren, but it's probably better than a lot of areas. This area of land, it was baled like every year. So every year the grass would grow and get baled, and then it'd get hauled off. So very little nutrition was going back into the soil. So like say every year the grass grew, it died, laid on the ground, turned back into soil, because every year those plants will extract a little bit from the ground, deposit it back on that topsoil layer. But if you let the plant grow, and then you cut it off, and then bale it up and take it off the property where it's not gonna replenish the soil, maybe a little bit of the stem will be left to make some topsoil. You're just gonna probably deplete the top layer of soil of any kind of nutrition. And that's what's going on with the farmland. It's just every year they grow something off it and then cart it away, and then nothing is really left to replenish those vitamins and minerals and all the things that the plants need to grow, and then in turn we need to grow from eating the plants. So they spray fertilizer and stuff on it to make it grow, and then it grows up all, you know, it's like you go to the grocery store and you see a lettuce, and the lettuce is like see-through, or the celery is like see-through. It's just like white. It's like white vegetables. Well, that's a product of fertilization and no actual content in the soil. You know, I remember my grandma, she had a little garden behind her house, and she got some good soil in there. She got some manures in there, and she would grow her own vegetables, and those vegetables were the darkest green you could ever imagine, and the strongest tasting you could ever imagine. And that's because the soil was really good and rich. So if you want good vegetables, you need good soil. And that's probably why there's a lot of unhealthy people out there, because we're all eating the stuff from the grocery store that is grown by fertilizer and not much else. So anyway, yeah, I came out to do concrete today. What am I talking about here? Got a little bit sidetracked. So yeah, concrete is hard enough. It'll work for the bottom of the tank. Hopefully over the years it'll get hard and not crack apart and leak, but it's just groundwater being held within the ground. So it's not like it's a septic tank, so it doesn't really have to be super duper sealed. So even if that concrete gets a little bit of a crack in it, and it loses a liter of water through that crack over the course of the year, I'm not too worried about it. So yeah, groundwater in the ground is no concern of anybody, other than you're losing a little bit of water out of your tank.